Hi, my name is Jessica Angelo, and this is my week 3 teaching presentation. Before I start my presentation, I wanted to go over what SQL is. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. It's used to access and manipulate databases, which are basically just tables with rows and columns, and they can be divided into two types. DDL, which stands for Data Definition Language, is used to manage the database objects. So that's kind of used to manipulate the tables, manipulate rows and columns. So basically just to change the structure of the actual table. DML, which is Data Manipulation Language, is used to manage the data inside those tables. The information that's stored in those rows and columns and in those tables. So the keywords we're talking about today are where, from, and. I'll start by talking about the from keyword because select statements. Well, first we'll talk about select statements. Select statements are part of DML, data manipulation language, and so those are used to manipulate the pieces of information inside of your database. So they basically are just used to retrieve information. Select tells us what to retrieve, and from tells us where to get that information. So here's an example of from. So in our select statement, we're selecting the column tax from the table orders. So you can see over here I just made a Microsoft Excel table to represent our database, and then I highlighted in orange what we've selected here using this example. You can also select multiple columns using commas to separate each piece of information that you're wanting to select, which I showed in this example here. Here's an example where we're adding the keyword where in our select statement. So we're grabbing the tax from the table orders, and we're using the keyword where to target a specific customer ID of 4921. Where actually has several operators that you can use, and in this example I showed another example of another operator you can use for the where clause, and this is selecting everything. This is the not operator, so we're selecting any county that is not Okaloosa. So you can see in the highlighted orange that I've selected everything, all the tax from the table orders that is not in the county Okaloosa. There are other operators you can use. You can use greater than or less than. You can use between. You can use several different things to target really specific pieces of information and filter out things you don't want to select. And then here's an example of and, the and clause. So we have selected tax from the table orders, and we want to select, and we used where to get the county Okaloosa, but we also want the customer ID of 4921. So this allows you to be more specific about what you're selecting. If you want, a certain state or a certain county, and then you also want, another thing like we have right here, the tax. We want to select tax, and we also want the customer ID of 4921. So that allows you just to be a little bit more specific about what you're selecting. So we used the and clause there. So I'll quickly move into an example from W3 Schools, a working example that uses all of the keywords for my presentation. So they have a database for us, and right here we're going to select from the table customers, and we're selecting everyone from that's ordered from Germany and the city of Berlin. So if you run the SQL statement here, it returns the customer ID of anyone who is from Germany and also lives in Berlin. So you can see their customer ID and their information right here. So that's my working example. I hope this was helpful for anyone who's watching it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I'll do my best to answer any questions that you guys might have. Thanks so much for watching.